Web development, like every valuable skill in life, becomes increasingly easier the more you practice it. The beauty of web development lies in its accessibility. It's incredibly easy to get started with, yet becoming proficient is a different story. The barrier to entry is low, but the path to mastery can be challenging, often catching newcomers by surprise. It's common for people to be taken aback by how difficult web development can be after their initial excitement. Anyone can open a simple text editor, write a few lines of HTML, and create their first website. That initial excitement can make you feel like a pro, but reality sets in when you dive deeper, especially when you encounter CSS and realize that there is actually more to this journey than you originally thought. Some people spend months, even years, trying to grasp the basics of web development before they ever build their first functional website. Others may dive into projects too quickly and struggle to make progress because they haven't built a solid foundation. But I have a good news for you. On this channel, I'm here to guide you through the process efficiently. I focus not only on the technical aspects, but also on the actions you need to take and the mindset you need to adopt to succeed. So to start your web development journey, you need to focus on 4 main tools: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Figma for design. But here is a critical point to take note of. You don't need to master all these tools to start building something great. A common mistake is trying to learn everything about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript before starting a project. This approach often leads to frustration and stagnation because it's literally impossible to know everything after years of experience. Instead, focus on learning the essential this way. Learn 40% of HTML and CSS, the key 20% of JavaScript, and just learn 10% of Figma to begin creating impressive websites. This perspective should lift a considerable weight off your shoulders. It's okay not to know it all. You can still build amazing things with a solid grasp of the basics. And once you understand that only the basics are necessary, the next step is to start building. The best way to learn web development is by doing, basically by building projects, even if the project seems very small at first. So you shouldn't set out to start building the next Facebook on your first day. When learning anything new, balance is very crucial. You need a challenge that is neither too difficult nor too easy. If it's too hard, you risk burnout and discouragement. But if it's too easy, you'll get bored and miss out on the essential learning experiences. So then you might be wondering, how can I find this middle ground and learn web development as a complete beginner? That is, if I have no experience. The answer is very simple, and it's actually simpler than you think. You actually have to reverse engineer the entire learning process. So you have to start with the end in mind and work backward. For each new concept you learn, build a project to reinforce your understanding. Let's say you're learning to create a simple, semi-responsive navigation menu in HTML and CSS. You have to ask yourself, what do I need to build this navigation menu? On the HTML side, you'll need to create an unordered list within a div element. Each menu item will be a list item containing an anchor tag, because these are basically clickable links. You'll also want to add class names for styling purposes. By working through this simple task, you are reinforcing your understanding of HTML, learning how to use attributes, tags, elements, and grasping how to nest them properly. Next, you'll need to style your menu. You might want to give it a cool background color using CSS. And by default, unordered lists are vertically aligned, so you'll need to change this to a horizontal alignment. You could use the float left property or the display flex property to achieve this. Additionally, you might want to remove the default bullet points by setting list style type to none. So as you tackle each new challenge, remember that you have a wealth of resources at your disposal. You can always go to Google, YouTube, Stack Overflow, or even using AI tools like ChatGPT can be incredibly helpful. So start by watching a few tutorials on the basics of HTML and CSS. Then try to build a small navigation menu. When you hit a roadblock, return to the tutorial, search for answers, or ask questions online. This process of continuous learning and building is key to your progress. So do not take it lightly and repeat these steps until you understand the concepts. So basically, the more you do, the more motivated you'll become, creating a positive feedback loop that accelerates your learning. Now, once you've mastered smaller tasks, you'll naturally want to move on to bigger projects, like designing and building a full website with multiple pages. The approach basically remains the same. You start with a design tool like Figma, sketch out your ideas and draw inspiration from platforms like Dribbble or Behance. You can also copy elements from popular websites, replicate them, modify them, and adapt them to your own designs. When you're satisfied with your designs, start coding. Remember that your design doesn't need to be perfect. Implement what you have and aim for improvement with each iteration. And I really cannot emphasize this enough because a lot of people want their thing to be perfect before they actually start building. You can just start designing a section, building that section, then moving over to the next and repeat that process until you have a finished product. So be comfortable with imperfection. And you always have to remember that progress is made through iteration. The first version of your work and even yourself will always be different from the next. You have to accept imperfection and focus on getting better with each attempt. You don't need to know everything about HTML, CSS or JavaScript to start building. A small percentage of knowledge is enough to create something meaningful. Once you've built a few websites, you can then move on to learning JavaScript, applying the same methodology. So basically learn the basics, build projects, and integrate your new skills with your existing knowledge. Now that you understand the process of learning web development the easy way, you have to remember this. As a developer, you're not just hired to write syntax. You are hired to solve problems. The methodology I've outlined here is designed to solve your learning problem because the most fundamental thing you need to learn how to do is to learn how to learn. And that is what we've covered a whole bunch throughout this video. So the methodology and the processes you did to learn how to learn web development the easy way, this is what you're going to carry out throughout your career as a developer, helping clients overcome their problems by solving their problems using the methodology we've developed. So now I will write out all the things you need to learn in HTML, CSS and JavaScript on the screen so you can just pause the video and take a screenshot of it and reference it anytime. So whether you're building a fast, user-friendly website or proposing a design that meets business expectations, your focus should always be on using the tools you've learned to solve problems efficiently. I built my very first real website using Wix, then transitioned to building my first web app using React because I wanted to solve a specific problem I had. This framework of learning, focusing on solving problems rather than mastering tools, has guided every new skill I've acquired. The important thing is not about learning the tools, so learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, all those things doesn't matter if you don't have any problem to solve. So you have to start with the problem in mind and learn the things necessary for you to solve those problems or for you to achieve your goals. So now I know that learning web development can feel overwhelming at times, even with the best advice. So if you want to have a more structured approach with mentorship, guidance, support, and live classes, consider joining the Programmers University to take your skills to the next level. You can check it out in the link in my description. So thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. See you in the next one.